Looking at the Markets with David Modell. Hello and welcome to Looking at the Markets with David Modell. Inflation, gold, the commodities boom, the death of the dollar. There's a lot going on and a lot of questions to ask. Thank goodness I've got with me today Mr. Rana Vig. Actually, he's back on this channel, provided so much information last time. He's the CEO and director of Blue Lagoon Resources. Check it out at bluelagoonresources.com. Mr. Vig, welcome back to Looking at the Markets, sir.
Thanks, David. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate your time. I know it's valuable. And by the way, if people want to check out your stock on the OTC market, BLAGF, and also CSE BLLG. But I want to talk about inflation. It's become such a real problem in 2021. Why do you think inflation is just ramping up? It's relentless. And what are the long-term consequences of this going to be?
Well, look, I mean, that's a great question. It's ramping up because the dollar continues to get devalued, and it keeps getting devalued because I don't know what's wrong with these people who are so-called leaders. They keep printing more and more. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, this is not rocket science. It's basic supply and demand. And I guess the challenge is they have nowhere else to generate revenue, right? I mean, we're the only source. They've already squeezed every last dollar out of us that they can. So they keep printing more money to try to pay off all of these programs that they keep announcing and infrastructure. So that continues to devalue the dollar. And where is it headed? Well, unfortunately, I mean, I'm an optimist, but I'm not so optimistic about the future here. From the economic sort of perspective, because every time you go to the store, there's less money in your pocket because the goods keep rising, higher and higher, and things are just it's very unfortunate. I don't see how they're going to turn this thing around. I think it's completely out of control.
Yeah, I personally recommend that people should hold some hard assets as a way to hedge against rising inflation, and also some mining shares as well. I know that you're bullish on commodities. Which ones do you think have the greatest potential for upside in the next year, let's say?
Well, I think it's gold, silver, and copper, right? Those are the three that I really like, and those are the three that I think are going to perform, because gold and silver are tied into really, sort of the economic policy, right? As we see more money printing, as we see the more devaluation, typically gold, goes up, and I know people always panic, and like from the last couple of days, gold's pulled back again, but remember, there's a lot of manipulation that happens also in these markets, but at some point it's going to settle, it's going to go up, just like it did in the past, right? If we look at the chart, go back and chart it from the 70s, right? When it was $35. Of course, it went up and down and it went stagnant for a while, but look at the chart. It's straight up, right? From back there, right? So that I think is going to happen. And listen, a lot brighter people than me are talking about this. People who have access to an incredible brain trust and research. The Bank of Americas of the world, the Goldman Sachs of the world. Many of the leading institutions are talking about gold being well north of 2,000. Yeah, it may not get to 7, 10, 50. That some people talk about, but certainly 2,000 plus, 2,400, 2,500, $3,000. I see that all day long here later this year and next year. And copper is hitting new all-time highs, as I'm sure you've seen. And of course, yes, it's also pulled back a little bit. That's normal, a market sort of balancing out. But it's still, significantly higher. What is it? Almost double since the last year. So it's and I'm reading that they're thinking it's going to go to $10 plus because of the electric car movement, because of all the infrastructure programs that are being announced or that are going to happen, which require a lot of copper. So gold, copper, and silver, I think are the place to be right now, for sure.
Yeah, gold, copper, and silver, three winners, all of them actually, I think. Now, you've taken a number of companies public throughout the past 5 years. Can you share some of those success stories?
Sure. I've been very fortunate. In 2018, I was able to take two of the biggest companies in the non-resource sector public. One was called Curaleaf out of the Boston area. It was a cannabis company because that was the hottest sector at the time. I took them public in 2018. It was a $520 million raise and nearly a $6 billion RTO. The company still trades today at $12 billion. The stock's about $18. So it's been a huge success, an incredible management team executing on their plan. And I also took one in 2018 called Harvest Health and Recreation out of Arizona, which was a $300 million raise and nearly a $2 billion RTO. That one got bought out actually about 3 weeks ago by TrueLeave for $2.1 billion. The stock's trading at about $5. So that was an incredible success as well. And then in 2019, I decided to come back to mining. And I launched this company, Blue Lagoon Resources, which is doing really well in my opinion right now. And we're just at the point where just before the discovery. I believe we're at the discovery curve and ready to break out. And I took a company called Pampa Metals public here 6 months ago, which is a copper focused company in Chile. So yeah, just been very, very busy and very active in the markets, and very excited about where the future is going in the commodities, because I believe we're in the beginning of the super cycle right now.
Sure. Now, I'm excited about Blue Lagoon Resources. People really need to check out the website, bluelagoonresources.com, to get the full scoop on it. But I understand that your company just kicked off a Phase 2 drill program on your flagship property, the Dome Mountain project in British Columbia. What are the latest details on that?
Yeah, we had announced a 20,000 meter drill program back in January. We finished 7,700 meters of that. Then we kind of paused to look at the data and assess what we want to do next. And earlier this week, we restarted. We're going to do about another 13,000 meters. And that's how a exploration company really increases its value, right? I mean, typically, right? You drill and hopefully you find more and you increase the value, for your shareholders. So we're very excited. We started earlier this week, and it's going to be a very, very busy summer. And you know what? Hopefully, just like we did in the past, we hit some great numbers, and we don't expect a lot of surprises. But yeah, we're very bullish on what we're doing, right now.
Yeah. Now, we talked about the potential upside of commodities generally, gold, silver, copper, and I've heard that Blue Lagoon is ready to ship more than 6,000 metric tons of high-grade mineralized material. Is that true?
Yeah, more than ready, David. We've already started. In fact, I just got a message from my team that we've sent more than 15 trucks already this week. We started on Monday, and so the trucks are rolling right now as we speak. All that material that's been sitting in the mine, for a number of years, we finally got permission to take it out, and we're trucking it to the mill for processing. And that's going to be that's pretty exciting, because that's going to generate us probably over 2,500 ounces of gold. It's going to do two things, I believe. Number one, in the market, it's going to show people that we're executing. I'm all about execution, right? We can talk all day long, but you got to execute on the plan, and that's really my specialty. So it shows the market that we're doing exactly what we've been saying all along. And number two is going to bring some money back in the in the treasury, which is always nice, which we're going to take, and we're going to redeploy back into the ground and do some more drilling.
Yeah. Now, here's a mystery I want to uncover. How were you able to purchase the Dome Mountain property without spending any cash, for about half of what the previous owners had already spent on it, and only another $1 million to spend on it before it was production ready? How did you pull that off?
A lot of tough negotiations and a lot of patience. All right. Yeah. So, the deal actually fell apart 3 times. But, I'm a patient guy and a tough negotiator. So, they are wonderful people, but the bottom line was, they just ran out of time. The previous owners I'm talking about, they were 83 years old and not in the best of health. And, we talked and, I laid out a vision. They looked at my past record and they said, hey, we think we can do a deal. deal, and I did not want to, do any cash. So yeah, we ended up doing an all stock deal, which was an incredible deal, for our shareholders for this little hidden gem. The beauty of this project is, and I guess part of the how I was able to do this is because it was so under the radar that no one really knew about it. This private group had more than 1,200 shareholders in this private company, and their complete focus all those years was to try to get this mine into production. Unfortunately, they were in a bad gold market for more than 10 years, and they did an incredible job by raising $28 million in that private company and putting it all into the property and development and infrastructure, and $40 million had been spent before that. So it's just timing. A lot of these things are just timing, and we happened to hit it. Gold at that time was trading around $1,400, and it was still not. There was still no momentum. There was still no excitement. This was around. We started talking to them about a year and a half ago, and we did the deal around 14 months ago. So it's just we were at the right place at the right time, and a little bit of luck, I guess, also helps.
Well, you're being modest. Yes, right place, right time, and a lot of hard work and due diligence for sure. And I've heard that 90% of the gold property has never been drilled. Could there be that much upside? Is it true?
Absolutely. Again, this is what what I was saying, that all the focus was in a tiny little area, which is less than 10% of the entire property, because as a private company, they really were focused on getting it into production and then pay dividends. That's what often, which makes sense for a private company. In a public company, however, that's not the most important thing. So although we are getting into production, and that's fantastic, and that's exciting, and we will be cash flowing, but that's the smallest part of our story. For the public markets, the big part is, what do you got more? And so we did an airborne survey last year, the first ever flown on this property, and the whole thing just lit up. I mean, everybody was scratching their head, all our technical teams saying, wow, how come no one ever knew about this? And I just spoke earlier this week to one of the top geologists in the world, who's had a number of very big discoveries, and he said the same thing. He goes, "Rana, this is incredible. How come I didn't know about it? How come this is?" And he says, in his words, he said, "You guys have got a nice little hidden gem here that no one's known about." So it just, those are all factors that play into it. So absolutely, the 90% of the area that has never been explored, we just started drilling on that earlier this week. That's where we're going to start. So we're very excited and very bullish on it, because that's what is called just before the discovery curve, right? In a mining exploration company, and that's where I believe we're at right now.
Now, I did a little bit of sleuthing myself. I discovered that you actually added 1 million shares to your holdings of Blue Lagoon stock earlier this year. That's real conviction. How much of the company is held by insiders such as yourself?
Yeah, so look, I'm a big believer of, if you're the jockey, you better have some skin in the game, right? Mm-hmm. So I did. I put in about $500,000 personally into this company. I own about 5%, of the company, currently. Myself, my family, and a handful of, my very close associates and friends who made a lot of money with me in my past deals. We've got now $2.2 million into this company, and have just under 20%, of the company. So we're vested. We're aligned with our shareholders, and I don't mind writing checks alongside with them, because look, I'm not doing this because I need a job. I'm doing this because I want a hat trick. I want this to be my next big win, and that's what I'm focused on and working on here, for the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, and yet how is it possible that the stock, the share price, is so undervalued? It's still very, very low. Is it just because gold pulled back a little bit recently? Or, like you said, is it just a hidden gem under the radar? How would you explain it?
Well, it's a combination of both, right? More and more people start finding about it. That's why I'm doing these interviews, and just to let people know that, hey, we're one of the companies that I believe that they should look at and take a hard look at, and do some research and due diligence. So putting it on their radar, and yeah, it's just if nobody knows about it, how are they going to buy it? And number two, gold has pulled back. Look, it just pulled back like $100 in the last couple of days. So people panic, and that's unfortunate. People don't, the saddest thing that I find, when I talk to investors is, when I talk to people, is they always buy at the wrong time, and they always sell at the wrong time. So sell-offs, and when things pull back, are buying opportunities, right? So when gold pulled back last time, when it was when for a short time it went under 1,700, I was a buyer, not a seller. So you look for these opportunities, and that's where I believe we are at, right? The gold pulls back a little bit, typically exploration companies, pull back. So yeah, that's the main fundamental reason I believe that we're undervalued.
Yeah, I pound the table constantly for people to buy in the red. Don't buy in the green. But not everybody wants to listen. But I'm telling you, I've made a lot of money with the strategy you just described. So hopefully more people will realize the value here, the value proposition. Finally, just wanted to give you an opportunity to mention any further catalysts for Blue Lagoon over the next 12 months and even over the next few years. What's going to propel the stock, I believe, much higher?
Well, great question. Look, we've got a number of things happening here in the next few months that are going to be significant milestones. Probably the key is to finishing these amendments, right? There were 3 key amendments that had to be done in order to get this back into production. We've finished majority of those. The last major one is the water treatment plant, which we finished about 8 weeks ago. And at this week, we're running the final full-scale trials, and then within a couple of weeks, getting the data back, and submitting it to the government and getting that process moving forward. So, I fully believe that by the end of this year, we'll be in a decision to get into production. So that's going to be a huge accomplishment and a big milestone for this company. Number 2, drilling, right? We announced a 20,000 meter program back in January. We did 7,700 of that. We started the balance of the 13,000. We just started this week, as I mentioned. But most importantly, we've stepped out now from the known zone. So we know, what we've got already. But what about this 90% area that we just talked about? So we're stepping out from there. We've got great, geological data, and so we're starting to drill on those areas there. And that's where the most exciting thing has happened in a mining exploration company, because if we hit, of course, that's a complete game changer. And the beauty of our project is that if we miss in one spot, we've got multiple others, right? Not only do we have 15 known veins in just that small little 10% area, but then we've got these vast targets that we've just identified in the other 90% that we're talking about. So all that's going to create a lot of news flow, lots of activity, and then let the chips fall, where they fall. I mean, that's what's exciting about exploration. So we've got near-term certainty that we're gonna create some some cash flow, and then we've got this huge blue sky that we're gonna hopefully unfold here over the next few months.
Yeah, folks, the time to buy is when it's on sale. I can't emphasize that enough. The ticker symbol again on the OTC markets, BLAGF, on the CSE exchange, BLLG. Check out bluelagoonresources.com. I will put a link in the description below this video. Mr. Ronavig, CEO and Director, Blue Lagoon Resources, thank you for coming back on. We'll have to do another update not that far along the way, because I know, or at least I feel, that gold is ready to move upwards, and this could be a great way to get some leverage on a rising gold price environment. Thank you, sir, for coming to Looking at the Markets.
Thanks for having me.